This week on Camera Talk, we're going to be looking at something a little different. Well, everything's always a little different, right? That's what Daddy always says. Heck, everything's a little different. That's right. Look what we have here. We have our guest host returning again. I don't know if he's going to survive the time to, I don't know, survive is the right word. We're not going to do you in, are we? Well, so I don't know if he's going to handle doing the entire video with us, but at least the intro anyway. So, Mr. Dylan, say hi to the crowd. Hey, everybody. 135s. This is, what do we got here? This is a Pentacon 2.8. It's got, 15 blades. It's an excellent portrait lens, 135. I have 8. I have 8 of them that I'm going to be looking at this week. And we're going to determine, again, kind of like what I did with the 50s, which one is my favorite 135. I think everybody should have one of these in their bag. And again, these are vintage lenses, all manual focus, but they're excellent quality, right? We're going to show some pictures of you, mister. So stick with us and let's learn something together anyway about 135 millimeter focal length for your photography. And again, this is manual focus, vintage lenses. Let's look at the 8 that I have and see which one might be tempting. Look at you, you're looking at this like you want it, right? You want this? It's coming out of your paycheck, mister. All right, so let's get at it then.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. All right, this week, looking at my collection of 135s. You know, we've gone through 50s and different series of, you know, my Sony lenses, my Leica lenses, and Carl Zeiss lenses, and my Russian lenses, and vintage lenses, and all kinds of different things. But this week, I'm focusing on focal length of the 135s. It's probably, I don't know, the most neglected, I would say, focal length out there. Nobody really talks about them much. They're taken for granted, like they're a telephoto lens, you know. What gets the spotlight? The 70 to 200, all right? But what's in between 70 and 200? 135, you know, it's kind of like halfway there kind of thing, right? You know, still, it's a lens that's great for you know, portraiture and even close-up work, you know, depending on which one we're talking about. But I've got 8 of them. Do I need 8 of them? No, I don't think so. But, you know, I have 8 of them. And, you know, I tried to collect in my vintage lens collections the best of the best. And I'm used to having the best. You know, I've got the kind of the best cameras, the best cars, the best clothes, the best watches. You know, the best of everything is kind of what I'm after as a collector, from just because I can. You know, everybody has their own personal taste, and what I might think is the best is, you know, just as subjective as anything else. So, but really, I'm going to go through these 8 one by one to kind of figure out which one if I had to keep, maybe I would choose more than any of the others. So, quickie introduction to them before we're going to move over to the table and line them up and have a go at them one by one. And as usual, I'm going to include, you know, my close up on the end of my 15 to 45 EOS M lens, which is the lens shooting this video on my Canon M50. So I'm going to try and zoom in on that and see how sharp we can get. I gotta stop using that word zoom, don't I? Because these are all prime lenses. They don't zoom anything. Focus is the term that I mean, but I say it throughout all my videos. So anybody who hears me say zoom this and zoom that, unless I actually am doing a video about a zoom lens, just translate that into focus. So as much as these things are not zooming anything, I'm going to focus in on the end of the 15 to 45, try and pick up the lettering around the nameplate. So, quickie introduction to the 8 that I have. Starting on the end here, I have an RE Auto Topcore 3.5, 135, 3.5. Coming down, I have a Canon FD mount from 1971. It's not 1963, but this is also an older lens. It is 2.5, f2.5. This is my Konica. It is again one of the better lenses, to give you a kind of a sneak preview. It's one of my favorites anyway. It's 3.2, f3.2. This one is my Mamiya Secor. It's a 2.8, and it's an SX model, and I'll go into the details of the good things and bad things about this particular one. I've got my Pentacon 2.8. This is kind of like what they labeled the Bokeh King way back when. It's got 15 aperture blades before the later version of this, cut all those blades out and everything else. But still, again, another one of my favorites. But it's, if you see my introduction, that's the one I was holding up there. On the very end there, we have the Carl Zeiss Jena Praktikar 3.5, and again, it's a good lens. All Carl Zeisses kind of have that reputation. Coming backwards up here, we got my Nikon Nikkor 3.5, also a very good lens. And last on my list is my Auto Vivitar. Now, anybody remembers anything about Vivitars way back, knows that that Vivitar was not a manufacturer. They were it was a brand basically that lenses were sold under, and they were all made by different companies. This one was made by Konica in Japan, and it is it's a 2.8 also, and it's a good lens. This one was in the FD mount, and that's the thing with Vivitars, the various mounts made by various manufacturers. So anyway, I'm going to talk about these. I'm going to give you sample shots of the end of the lens on my M50 using my my Sony A7R II, just to show you how it resolves on a 42 megapixel camera. Again, some of these lenses, because they are vintage lenses, they're older, they're based upon, SLR film cameras back in the day. So they obviously are not going to render the same as a modern lens would on such a camera as the Sony here with a 42 megapixel sensor, because those didn't exist at all back at that time. But anyway, I'm just going to show you what they look like, what the potentials are, because mirrorless cameras are ideal for vintage lenses. Again, they don't have any issues with the mirror slap or whatnot on a DSLR that other cameras have issues with. So let's get at it then. Let's rearrange things here. Get the table in here. I can line these babies up. We'll talk about them one by one and get you some sample shots. And of course, I'm going to be using my favorite little model, my son Dylan, who's 13 and a half months old now. You saw him in the intro. I couldn't have him in here. Actually, he's off nap time right now with mommy. I can still hear him. He's fighting it, Babies love to fight that nap. Please don't make me nap. It's the worst thing ever. It's almost like washing their hair. They hate that stuff, But anyway, so he's not going to be joining me for this. But I'll be taking pictures of him with these just to show you. Again, the portraiture is my thing, so I like to show off my cute little guy with using these. So anyway, let's move out to the table then, right? So let's do a quickie intermission. Quickie Intermission. Hopefully you went and got yourself some popcorn, something to drink, whether that's soda or the beverage of your choice. All right, so let's get into this. Starting with my Mamiya. This is the Mamiya Secor SX. Now I told you, a minute ago, the thing with the SX, the beauty of the XX is that it's an excellent piece of glass. When it comes to Mamiya, they put a good effort into producing their, their lenses for their line. But this one was made for their SX camera, and again, some quickie specs on it. It's an f2.8, and it goes to f22. There's 4 elements in 4 groups. It's close focus. Distance is 1.5 meters, which is 4.9 feet. It's a kind of a hefty little guy. 500 grams, which is 17.6 ounces. And it has 6 aperture blades, which is very common for Japanese manufactured lenses. And again, wide open. It's got some nice bokeh. Colors are great. It's nice and sharp. Again, one of the downsides now of an SX is that this is a M42 to NEX adapter. When you screw this on, it presses actually up against the bottom of the aperture ring, so that when it's actually installed, screwed in, you cannot change the aperture.
What you talking about?
But really, if you've chosen your aperture that you're shooting at, then why not consider it like a lock? It locks in that aperture, and if you need to change it, just unscrew it a little bit, back off the adapter, change your aperture to whatever you want, and screw it back tight again. It's that that simple. So again, if you're if that's what you want to do, it's not that big a deal. So let me get you again a sample shot of the my M50, and I'll slip in some shots of Dylan right after this, right after I get this on here for you. All right, so as they say, that is that. Lock in. Put that down. Now again, 1.5 meters. It's about kind of where I am now from the camera. So let me focus that in. See, I was about to say, let me zoom in. I'm trying to teach myself, stop saying zoom. Let me use my magnifier so I can get a nice, good look at this. All right, so this is the Mamiya 135 millimeter f2.8 at f2.8. I like to shoot everything wide open to show you the background. Then as you can see the camera, and then my my video notes behind that. So get you a shot of that. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that is that. As I said, I'll also toss in some pictures of Dylan right here. So that was the Mamiya Secor SX. Don't forget that SX. And as I said, be wary of what I said about the the adapter being tight up against the base of the aperture ring. Next in line is again one of my favorites and the favorites of many others out there. This is the Pentacon 2.8 135, and it is the earlier version of what Pentacon produced when it comes to the 135. This is actually just a relabeled Meyer Optik Görlitz. Oreston is what this was named before Meyer Optic Gerlichs got folded into the Pentacon family. And so it's pretty much the same thing. And it got redesigned later, later in life. But this one is the better version. It's kind of rare that the earlier version is better, but in this case, it actually is. Now again, the claim to fame for this this bad boy here is the 15 aperture blades that it has. And if you saw my video intro, you would notice, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I certainly notice when I see it, that the blades are a little oily there. And if you've seen my Helios cleaning those oily blades video, you know that I can do that kind of stuff. So I'll have to do that here. It's not so hard to take off the front elements and things like that and get at the blades. So so to me, it's not that big a deal. Plus, I'm not shooting outside anyway, so the light shouldn't be an issue. A little bit about this guy. So f2.8 up to f32. You know, a lot later versions again shorten up that focal length and whatnot. They reduced the number of aperture blades and so on and so forth. It's 5 elements in 4 group layout. Its close focus is 1.5 meters, just like the Mamiya. So it's 4.9 feet. It is again a little heavier one, 470 grams, which is 16.6 ounces. So again, 15 aperture blades, and I'm shooting this at wide open. So let's see what the Bokeh King can produce here. So again, let me zoom in on the end of the lens. Let me try to get the lettering nice and sharp. All right. So here we go. So again, this is the Pentacon 135 2.8 at 2.8. 1, 2, 3. All right. So that was the shot of the lens. Here are some pictures of Dylan. And you'll see again how sweet it is to be. All right. So anyway, not karaoke time. I hate karaoke, by the way. So that was the Pentacon. Don't mind me, I tend to talk to myself a lot. Next in line, we have the RE Auto Topcore. Again, an excellent little lens. Well, actually, none of these are little, but you know, again, this is an old lens. I think this is my oldest lens. It's 1963, and you know, again, Auto Topcore, RE Auto Topcore. There is UV Topcore and whatnot, but the RE was their pro line. You know, one thing I forgot to mention, you know, about these guys too. Hold on a second. This one does not. This one has, you have to have a screw-on hood, but most of these guys have their own hoods, and yeah, telescoping hood. So that's the Mamiya. Not quite as pronounced as the Topcore here, which has a telescoping. And I mean, look at that, 1, 2. So it's actually got 2 hoods that come up. 1, 2, 1, 2. So anyway, this is the RE Auto Topcore. It's f 3.5, goes up to f22, and it's a 4-3, 4 elements in 3 groups. It's the I guess the simplest design out of the group, and again, probably because it's the oldest. Back then, that was the norm. Going simpler is better. So it's a 4:3 group, close focus, again, 1.5 meters, 4.9 feet. It is 390 grams, so that's 1375 ounces, and it has 6 blades, again, the old Japanese design. So let me get you a shot of this end of the lens. And another quickie thing about this, even though it's the oldest lens, out of all the vintage lenses, this one has the reputation of looking the most modern as far as rendition goes. You know, a lot of lenses, when you take photos using them, you can kind of recognize a vintage look, so to speak, versus the Topcore here, which tends to be fairly sharp and contrasty and all the stuff that we look for in today's lenses. Let me make sure I'm wide open at 3.5. I noticed it was a little dark in there when I was looking through. Alright, so I think I got it as sharp as I'm going to be anyway. So again, this is the RE Auto Topcore 3.5, and here's the photo of the end of the lens here. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that was that, and I don't think there's anything else I needed to remember in this case. So that was this is the photo of the end of the lens. These are the photos of Dylan here. All right, and that was that. Oh, the other thing with I keep forgetting to mention little things here and there. These first two are M42 mounts, so they're screw-on mounts. You know, screw you.
Hey, screw you!
This one is Exacta. Exacta is not a very popular mount at all. You know, even getting the adapter was not the easiest thing in the world either. And that was one of the things that kind of doomed the Topcore line, is the fact that they had Exacta mount. And as you can, well, you can't really see much there, but you know, if you compare this to hold on, let me find, I'll use my Nikon on the end here since it's the closest. You know, again, look at the opening size difference. The Exacta is a smaller opening than the F mount Nikon. And as I said, that was one of the things that that kind of doomed the Topcore line, was that Exacta mount, you know, not being very adaptable to size, performance, and whatnot with an opening this small with the mount and whatnot. So it just wasn't ideal. And you know, again, that's kind of one of the rumors of why it kind of went away silently. All right, next in line is my Canon. You know, this is a hefty one. I think this is the heaviest one I have, and you can feel it instantly when you pick it up. I mean, this thing's like a brick. You know, like that video where the guy throws the brick at the window and his stupid buddy runs in front. Poof. You know, like that. Anyway, so this is an FD mount, 135 f2.5. And a lot of people out there say 2.5. They didn't make a 2.5 in FD. Obviously, they did, because I've got one right here in my hands. So don't always believe what people tell you, the rumors out there. So Canon, of course, has a reputation of making some pretty good products, and they still do. This was the FD line. This was when they first started producing these in 1971. They started the serial number line at 10,000, and this one's 17,000, so this is 7,038th lens they made in that line. Good piece of glass, good sharpness, good color. everything that you would expect from a Canon lens. It is f2.5 to f22. It's a 5 element in 6 group layout. Close focus, like everybody else so far, is 1.5 meters, 4.9 feet. It is, again, heavy, 670 ounces, or sorry, 670 grams. That's 23.6 ounces, which, you know, there's 16 ounces in a pound, so it's a heavy little sucker. And it's got 8 blades, so we're, you know, even though, yes, it's a Japanese built lens, they didn't do everything 6-bladed. So this has 8, and again, it's a great lens, but you can really feel the heft. I mean, feel the difference in this. And again, it comes with a telescoping lens hood, which is always nice. And yeah, let me get you a picture of the end of the M50's kit lens here, 15 to 45. All right, so as usual, this is the Canon FD 135 f 2.5. I almost forgot what this one was. f 2.5 from 1971. It's a FD mount. All right, so 1, 2, 3. All right, so this is the picture of the lens. End of the lens. And these are pictures of Dylan. And let's move on down the line. So that was my Canon. Next we have the Konica. Whew, big difference in weight here. Picked it up, I almost dropped it, it's so light. This one's only 370 grams versus 670. So 390 grams, but still it's like 300 grams lighter than this one. So as much as this was 5.5 elements in 6 groups, this one is 5 elements in 4 groups, and it's an f3.2. And again, they're oddball. The oddball sizes, or oddball aperture sizes, are the ones that seem to be the award winners, the showstoppers. So again, 2.5, not very common. 2.8, 3.5, you know, were the thing. But same with this one, is an f3.2. So you think 2.8 and 3.5 would be the ones, but it's the 3.2 is the showstopper for the Konica Hexanon AR 135 f3.2. Comes with a nice slide on and off metal hood, Konica. So 3.2 to f16, 5 elements in 4 groups. It's close focus now is a little different. We're getting fancy schmancy here. This one's 1 meter, which is 3.3 feet. So that's pretty short for, you know, again, the 135s.
So many different sizes.
You know, everything's normally, you know, 1.5 meters or more. So 1 meter, it's more like getting into Leica territory, rangefinder stuff here. But for a 135, that's pretty good. So so that's one of the things. And of course, Konica has that reputation. Again, sliding hood. Oops. There we go, sliding hood. This one's a little tighter, so it needs some lubing, I guess.
That's what she said.
But again, Konicas have that reputation for being the best of the best, so to speak. Right? The government of Japan used Konica as its kind of benchmark to measure all their other Japanese lenses against. So again, it has a great reputation already for being a super lens. So it's very sharp, great contrast, great color rendition. The whole thing is, you know, again, Konica's a one-stop shop when it comes to lenses. They're the best of the best. So better than all the rest.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest.
Who said that? Was that Tina Turner? So let me zoom in. All right, so this is the Konica 3.2, 135, sorry, 135 millimeter 3.2, and here we are. 1, 2, 3. So that was that. Here's some pictures of Dylan. And that was, again, that was my Konica. Again, a great lens. You know, I would highly recommend this one. Again, I don't want to give away anything at the end, but that's kind of where we're heading anyway, right? Since I've said that a few times already. Spoiler alert! Carl Zeiss. Carl Zeiss, as the Germans would say. I always get those comments on my videos from the Germans saying that I'm not saying Zeiss properly. And it's probably because I anglicize the term, or the word, the name, sorry. Carl Zeiss, and of course Jena, as we would say it, but Jena in Deutsch. So it's Praktikar, 3.5. 135 millimeter, multi-coated, and just like all of Zeiss's lenses, they have a great reputation. You know, this one's got a PB mount, Praktikar mount. Not very common. The adapters are kind of a pain in the butt to also get. So I have a PB to EOS mount, and because I have my Sony, I have an EOS to NEX, so I have actually two adapters on here to make that work. But luckily the PB one is paper thin, wafer thin, as they would say in French. Not sure if anybody's seen Meaning of Life, Monty Python. Wafer thin.
It's only a wafer thin.
So, you know, again, the Carl Zeiss, baby. Close focus distance is again 1 meter, just like the Konica, which is just like my Leica, my Leica, which is 3.3 feet. It's 430 grams, which is 15 ounces, and 6 aperture blades, you know, again, in that regard. Oh, actually, in my notes, I forgot to write down how many elements and how many groups. Bad teacher, forgot your notes. So I'll just put them here. How many elements in how many groups? I'm gonna guess 5 in 4 groups. So I'm a betting man. We'll go with that, 5 and 4. See if I'm right. So anyway, let's get a shot at the end of the lens here. Let me focus in. Yeah, see, I'm testing myself. Did I say zoom? No, I said focus. So I'm focusing in on the end of the lens. The end of the 15 to 45. All right, so again, this is wide open. This is the 135 millimeter, 3.5 Carl Zeiss Jena Praktikar, and we'll get a shot right here. So, are we ready? Oh, make sure we're wide open. Yes, 3.5. 1, 2, 3. All right, so this is the shot of the lens. Again, telescoping hood. And it's a little stiff, just like my Konica. It's weird how 2 in a row are like that. Here's some shots of Dylan. And that was my Carl Zeiss. All right, let's move on. Moving on down the line. Things are getting exciting, aren't they? As the race starts to heat up. All right, this is my It's my Vivitar. And as I told you earlier, Vivitar never made anything. They're just a brand name. They were made by a number of different lens manufacturers, and this particular one was made by Konica. And you know, again, it's a 2.8. This one is in a, I think in the, when I introduced it to you, I said FD mount. Now it's actually MD, which is Minolta. So this is a Minolta to NEX adapter. 4 elements in 4 groups. Hey, kind of screwed up a little bit. Not that I ever screw up, you know. But the Vivitar, the Auto Vivitar that I was talking about, it's a 2.8 Vivitar made by Comin, not Comina, Comin. I said it was a 4 element in 4 group layout, but that was the latter version. This one here, it's the earlier version. You can tell by the ribbed metal focusing ring here. It's actually 5 elements. 5 elements in 5 groups. So there's actual extra elements in there. What was I going to look at too? Close focus is 4.5 feet, or 1.3, maybe 1.4 meters, which is again different than what I had said on the video. So I felt bad. I felt bad for my Vivitar here. So I wanted to kind of, again, lay that out for you. So, you know, as usual, a lot of times the older lenses are the kind of the better ones.
Here I am, Vietnam.
380 grams, which is, hold on, camera's in the way, 13.4 ounces. And again, 8 blades. 8 blades. It's funny, the camera's like right in the middle of where those notes are on the board. So anyway, the Vivitar, it's got a good reputation. They made some, well, the manufacturers who made lenses for Vivitar made them pretty well. You know, again, nice smooth focus on this. Aperture ring open at 2.8, goes up to f22. So let me first turn on the camera. So I'm going to focus in on the end of the lens as I did with all the others. And so this is the Auto Vivitar. Auto Vivitar. Now the best ones, of course, are Series 1. If you can get a Series 1 version, you'll be quite happy with it. Those were kind of the cream of the crops of the Vivitar family. But even these, without the Series 1, are pretty darn nice too. All right, so this is again wide open at 2.8, right on the end of the lens. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that was the shot of the lens. Here's a shot of Dylan. And that was the Vivitar. All right. Last but not least is, again, one of my favorite lens manufacturers, Nikon, or Nikon, as some people pronounce it. They make great glass. They still make some good stuff today, but you know, back in the day, they were trendsetters. They were kind of right up there with Leica for the longest time until Leica came out with the, actually with this one here, the Summilux. Kind of took Nikon out of the rangefinder game, which ended up good for Nikon because then these two guys decided to rule the SLR world, and obviously became a much bigger company than Leica, so it was good, kind of a good thing that Leica put them out of the race. So this is Nikon Nikkor 3.5. Now they have another I forget what the big brother to this is, 2.8 maybe. Anyway, it's also a great lens, but it's a heck of a lot more expensive, and this one's actually pretty darn good as it is. It has 6 aperture blades, and where are we? It's an AI version, and that means auto index for the Nikon family out there. It's an F mount like all the others, and it's again has a great reputation. This particular lens here started my video with the fungus among us, because it had fungus when I first received it, as the seller hid from me on eBay. Thank you very much, Mr. Seller. But it gave me the opportunity to use it to show you guys how to clean fungus from your lenses, and it's not, again, no big deal. Just like the oily blades, no big deal. In today's lenses, it really sucks because of all the electronics and everything in there. But these manual lenses are great to work on. So let me get a shot of the end of the lens here. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, so that was the Nikon 135 3.5. Actually, I forgot to talk about the details of this one too, right? It's a 4 and 4 group, 4 elements, 4 groups. Close focus is 1.3. Well, that's a bit odd, right? We got 1.5, couple of 1 meters, and this is a 1.3, so it's, again, stands out as being different. It's 4.26 feet, and it's 420 grams, which is 14.8 ounces, and it has 7 blades. Again, just to be different. We have 6, 6, 6, and 15, of course, and 8 here, but and 8 there. But this one's got 7. Yeah, again, just to be a little different. That's what Nikon brought us. So that was the end of the kind of little quickie contest here. A picture of the photo of the end of the lens yet? If not, here's that. Here's some shots of Dylan using this. You know, again, when it comes down to which one do I really like, you know, I like my Nikons. I like all my Nikons. I don't talk about them enough or use them enough, but I really do like them. You know, again, the Auto Topcore, RE Auto Topcore is great for, you know, modern renditioning, you know, but if you, again, want to look vintagey and whatnot, you know, these guys are great in that range. My Pentacon is great for bokeh, the bokeh king with those 15 blades, very nice. If I had to get rid of any of these, maybe my Mamiya might hit the road jack. The Vivitar is as good as it is. I don't use it very often, so, you know, why have it if you're not going to use it? So I might just sell that baby. Dun, 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 dun. What else? As much as Canon is sweet too, this sucker's heavy. This is a big freaking thing. As I said, it's a heavy sucker, and you know, lugging that thing around is no fun really. So I'm gonna put you out to pasture too, Mr. Canon, as good as you are. So here we are. Dun, 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 dun. You know what? This Carl Zeiss is nice too, but it's not the nicest. Carl Zeiss 135s that are out there. There are better versions of it. So even though this one is nice as it is, it's not my favorite cup of tea. So I'm going to put you out to pasture as well. So just like my favorite 50s video, that kind of leaves me with 3. So I'll put 2 on one side, 2 on the other. Oh, but I left one attached to my camera, didn't I? Oh, Mr. Nikon. Can't leave you out in the cold, can we? So put you back in the running. So I have 4. Now I started out with 8 and I'm down to 4. Oh, wow. Selection, selection, selection. Now when it comes to sharpness, you know, Konica kind of really leads the way in that field. And again, as much as my RE Auto Topcore is great for modern renditioning with sharpness and so on and so forth, that's not as important to me. So I'm going to retire her or him, depending on the gender of the lens, of course. It's hard to tell. You can't look at the bottom like you can with many things. So, not that I would get rid of it, so I would just keep them out here, him or her. So now we're down to 3. What would I decide on? Well, again, I really like the Konica. You know, these are some really well-made lenses. You know, so are Nikons. But the Bokeh King here, ooh, those 15 blades. 15 blades are nice. So I'm going to, again, as much as I like my Nikon, ooh, slide you over into the corner here. So, down to 2. Bokeh King, or just King of the Lenses King. Konica starts with a K and King starts with a K. Again, I don't want to give a spoiler alert or anything, but if I were going to use either one of these for my portraiture hobby, I would probably use my Konica more than my Pentacon. So no shame in you, Mr. Pentacon or Miss Pentacon. I'm still going to use you, don't worry. But I think my Konica is going to have to take the day. Do we have a crown for the Konica? No. Sorry, buddy, no crown for you. But just know that in my heart of hearts, for 135, favorite 135, I'm going to go with the Konica 3.2. And with a close second, even though second is the same as in coming in last for many people, even though you're an older lens, nothing wrong with being old. I'm old too, but I'm going to keep you in my other pocket. So Konica is going to rule the day. Pentacon is going to take second place. All right. So that's it. My favorite 135 will be the Konica. So let's leave it at that. The rest of you, don't go anywhere. I'm going to use you as well. Not all of you, of course. Some of you I'm going to have to get rid of because kind of dead weight, and my shelf can get too heavy. I don't want that thing collapsing on me while I'm on my computer. So I might have to get rid of some of you guys. But anyway, let's call it a day and say that yes, this is my favorite. This is my second favorite. This was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott. And at Modesty Photography, you know, we're here to save you money, here to teach you a trick or two, introduce you to things you may not have seen before or may not be aware of. But as always, I need a little support to get my channel out there so that others can be just as educated or enlightened as the rest of us. So give me a subscribe, and a second subscribe, and a third for the all-time greatest subscribe ever, subscribe. And then, as well as the YouTube algorithms, like the thumbs up. Let's do the thumbs up, girls. So give me a thumbs up. If not for me, then do it for the girls. They need the thumbs up. And lastly, let me talk to you about my photo editing software that I use. It's Luminar. And Luminar is just just as good as Lightroom and the Photoshop combination and all that. Sure, there might be a beller whistle, a little more than Luminar that they have, but they're also a lot more expensive than Luminar. Luminar is very economical, $67. And if you click on the link below that I provide in the description, you click on that link, you save $10, so it's only $57, and it's yours for life. And what does that link do too? Hey, it gives me $10, so hey, why not support the teacher? You know, as teachers, we don't get rich being a teacher. So help support the channel, and maybe when I blast past that 1,000 subscriber mark, you know, I can start making a dollar or two on my videos from my my ads and whatever YouTube decides to put on there. So that was pretty much it. A little update on our COVID-19 issue here in Vietnam. Things are taking a little turn for the worse. Apparently somebody got into the country doing quarantine and paid their way out and then spread it around everywhere. So we've got some fast-moving infections spreading around the country. Damn you people, can't do your time, man. It's only 14 days. But, you know, we had 50 new cases today. And again, where these numbers, you know, for Vietnam, they're big. They're like, oh my God, we had 50 new cases today out of 97 million people. That's really nothing compared to other countries who look at hundreds of thousands a day or 50,000 a day kind of thing. So 50, that's not so bad. But still, for here, we're not used to that kind of thing. So it's a big panicky, oh my God, they shut down the schools and all the restaurants and movie theaters and hair salons and, you know, no gatherings of more than 10 people and so forth and so on. So anyway, hopefully that goes away. You know, wear your mask, wash your hands, a little social distancing, get your vaccine if you can get one. We don't really have it here yet, so we can't opt in that. We got to kind of wait our turn. You know, the conspiracy theory is Vietnam is V, and we're way down the list of getting that. Of course, that's not true, but it sounds cool. Anyway, when the vaccine's here, we'll get it and off we go. And just like everybody else, just like the flu vaccine or anything else, it's always a smart thing to do. So doctor's advice, get your vaccine. Don't be an anti-vaxxer. There's no benefit in that whatsoever. So thanks for dropping by. Thanks for supporting me. And you have yourselves a great week, a great weekend, and we'll see you next week in the next video. So take care and bye-bye.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always good.